Another puppet. Golden rule, big time. Ignore the words and watch the actions, because they're never the same. And just to show you nothing's changed, there we go. Good old Bono. Nothing's changed, we're fine. So, we have this projected agenda, and we're now at the point where they're trying to introduce finally that structure. World government, world central bank, world army, world currency eventually, and alongside it, of course, the Orwellian state that I've been writing about for the best part of 20 years, and increasingly so many others have too over the years, and it's unfolding as daily experience. More and more control. Now, number plate imagery, where they can follow people all over the country. This stuff called speed spike, where they can follow cars and their speeds from satellite wherever they go over vast distances. Then they've got this stuff they're bringing in, problem, reaction, solution, because some puppet stooge kid set his pants on fire and now we must have this stuff. You know, I don't care about them seeing my body, serves them right. But it's going to bathe us all in bloody radiation. And of course, people who do care about their body being seen, it's going to, again, break them down. This is what it's about. It's a psychological warfare on the people. We're seeing police becoming more like soldiers. There are some good policemen, there are some sensible policemen, but my God, there's some morons. And they're giving them tasers as well. Bloody hell, 55,000 volts. And what is that about? People say, oh, it's terrible, it's bad for them, isn't it, that these people are dying from being hit by the taser? No, it's what they want. Because when people die of being hit by the taser, that means anything you say, officer, I'll do. It's what they want. It's part of the control system. And the sound to clear, peaceful protest, the microchip agenda goes on. One hospital now is replacing written tags on babies with barcoded ones. In the papers this week, it's all on the road. They now have barcodes that actually you can't see. The real ones, they would be there, but you wouldn't see them. Then there's the assault on the body computer to destabilize our ability to maximize our potential and get out there to higher levels of consciousness. That's what, in part, this is about. The chemtrails that crisscross the skies all over the world. All the chemical cocktails in food and drink, targeting children most of all. And this is an interesting thing. It's talking about problem, reaction, solution. The symptoms of the E numbers in sweets and food and everything, in terms of childhood behavior problems, mirror the alleged symptoms of attention deficit disorder. Mirror them. Why? Because they're causing them. And so what they do is have this shite, this will chemically imbalance the brain. It will create behavior problems and attention problems, and then we'll give you fricking Ritalin to dose you in mind-changing drugs to meet the problem that we are causing here. Same with genetically modified food, which is there to genetically modify us. This is why they're more and more targeting organic farmers around the world and people growing their own food to overcome the chemical shite. This is why they're targeting small farmers so the great conglomerations can move in, like Monsanto and others. This is why they have this Codex Alimentarius, which was created by Nazis like Fritz Tamir, who came up with the work makes free sign across the entrance to Auschwitz. Him and some of his fellow Nazis who went to jail after Nuremberg, he was released well ahead of the end of his sentence because his mate intervened, called Nelson Rockefeller, 4 times mayor of New York, and they created these Nazis. Codex Alimentarius in the 60s means code, food book or food code, and now they're trying to impose global regulations which in effect will stop us getting the doses of food supplements and vitamins that make any difference, and also hand control over to the pharmaceutical cartel for it. Same with the attempt to get us vaccinated with all this shite through the Rothschild-created and controlled World Health Organization. And because of the web, this center point can control the Monsantos, the food producers, the food standards agencies, which are supposed to oversee those people, the drug companies, the Food and Drug Administration in America is supposed to oversee them. They can orchestrate all of the stuff that I've just described and listed because of this web. And the overall thing is a war on the human immune system. They're trying to undermine the human immune system in every way, shape or form because they want a massive cull of the world population because they cannot cope with the numbers. And like I say, I was reading, when I was researching the book, I saw incredible figures. But my goodness, in the last week, I've seen extraordinary figures in terms of the increase in drugs, mind-altering drugs given to children. It is fantastic. And it's being done systematically to dumb down young people and stop them expressing their true potential for consciousness, which they are. And all that is in here, how that was going to happen, written as a novel by this guy, Fabian Aldous Huxley. They're putting us in a vibrational prison in all these ways. The financial crash was orchestrated on purpose by deregulating, and it's possible to do that because the Rothschilds and their associated families and groups control the world financial system. They're moving trillions of dollars around, so they decide if the stock market goes up or it goes down. If they target the dollar, it will go down. If they target sterling, it will go down or whatever, because they have that ability, and Goldman Sachs is one of their main vehicles for all this stuff. And they can control the world financial system because, once again, they control the banks, they control the Federal Reserve System in America, they control the Bank of England, and they control governments, and they control the reporting of it. And this is the plan. Stage 1, crash the global economy, September 2008. Stage 2, governments throw fantastic amounts of money, credit, money that doesn't exist, but we pay interest on it, at the perpetrators until their financial barrels are empty. Stage 3, and they'll bring this when they feel it's going to have maximum impact, they're going to crash the economy again on an unprecedented scale when governments have no means to respond. That's the idea. Why? Well, the last section will kind of pull all this together because there's something going on which they want to stop. But that's the idea. The more fear, the more disruption, the more stress, the more worry that they can create, the more it impacts upon us in ways that suit the control system, as I've described through the day. And then there's this major element of their plan in the next few years is introduce massive taxation and control and imposition as a result of something that doesn't exist, thanks to this guy. If this guy's involved, it's a scam. End of story. End of story. There you go. Thanks for the Oscar, but I'm totally full of crap. This man's going around demonizing carbon dioxide, which without it the world would not be as it is, and demonizing the greenhouse effect, without which we wouldn't bloody be here. There you go. That's what he's doing. And he's orchestrating all these people. And oh, it's so kind that David de Rothschild has produced this book to help us, Global Warming Survival Handbook. Survival. Now, let's get some sanity into this. This is a graph of greenhouse gases that make up the greenhouse effect. That one, you would think from the propaganda, would be carbon dioxide. It is water vapor and clouds. I think we ought to ban water vapor and clouds. It's the only way to save the frickin' world, right? Every time we see a cloud, they ought to add VAT. I think it's the only bloody way. And this is carbon dioxide. Not only that, the grey stuff is natural, only the green slither is coming from human activity. And we're supposed to believe it's affecting the weather. It's the bloody sun. It's the bloody sun. When the sun is in an active phase, it gets warmer. When it's in a non-active phase, it gets cooler, which is why over the last 10, 11 years, when the sun's been in a non-active phase, it's got cooler year on year. And one of these groups in this network with Brzezinski's Trilateral Commission is the Club of Rome. It was created in the 60s to orchestrate the use of the environment to push the agenda. Aurelio Pecci, the founder of the Club of Rome, quoted it in their own publication in 1991. In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. And they've played it out ever since through the Church of Climatology, which is just a cult. And here's the high priest. And we have this guy, Nick Clegg, who actually calls people that challenge the global warming climate change official story as climate change deniers. Because the Church of Climatology says that if you don't accept its nonsense, you are a blasphemer! And they equate you with Holocaust deniers. That's what that line is supposed to do. And we're still pushing along. We've had Climate Gate, we've had Glacier Gate, we've had Amazon Gate, we've had Polar Bear Gate, Rising Sea Levels Gate, where all these things that were supposed to be happening have found to be not happening and have been lied about and manufactured. And we've even had Cowgate. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you glad tidings and great news. These clowns have now admitted that bovine flatulence is not a threat to human existence as we know it. I can't tell you how happy I am. BBC, through gritted teeth, has had to admit on its website, but not on its television station, that temperatures have been falling. And yet, no matter, the Green Team goes in, Gore's team is taken on by Obama. They go around programming children about fear of the future, the Green Police to impose checks on your houses without your permission, and just to show it's a scam, there we go. How's that? Good stuff. Again, I keep coming back to this, the suppression vibrationally of this energy field and the human energy field. The reason they're stopping the manufacturing of light bulbs and the selling of light bulbs as we've known them up to this point, and they're replacing them with these things which are full of mercury and an environmental bloody disaster, is because they give off a certain vibration that affects the human energy field. This is why many people around the world get ill, physically ill, when they live with these light bulbs. It's all a scam. Very quickly to finish, political correctness. This is not about protecting minorities. It's about stopping people speaking their truth and having freedom of speech. That's what it's about. It's about creating what Orwell called newspeak, where the language replaces old speak, words that have meaning and detail and you can express yourself, with newspeak, which actually says nothing, has no ability to express detail. Because of the way it works. The only language in the world whose vocabulary gets smaller every year, Orwell said. And as he pointed out quite rightly, on the conscious level, we think in words. And so the more you reduce the words, and all this tech stuff, you are, and all this stuff, the way we're changing the language and reducing it dramatically, is taking out over a periods, the ability to even think in detail. As one person said, how can you talk about freedom and how we must have freedom if there's no word left that really means freedom? And in 1984, of course, newspeak didn't have a word meaning freedom. This is what political correctness is about, shutting people up so no one can say anything. You mustn't upset anybody. Well, it upsets me. You've upset me by saying I can't upset anybody. If I can't upset anybody, I can't say anything. It don't matter what you bloody say, you'll upset somebody. And then we have health and safety. Again, it's to create a situation where people can't move. I went into a Pizza Hut on the Isle of Wight. I'm not proud of it. I was hungry. But and I asked for a cup of coffee. And they said they couldn't make me a cup of coffee because the coffee machine was broken. I said, can't you, true story. I said, can't you put the kettle on? They said, no, we can't use a kettle because of health and safety. It's a bloody cafe. Do not hold the wrong end of a chainsaw. Oh, thanks for that, mate. I might have made a mistake there. And what all this is brilliantly portrayed here by Neil Haig. All these things, taxation, you can't do this, you can't do that, don't say that, health and safety, political correctness, oh, watch what you're thinking, oh, watch what you say, oh my God, is to tie us like flies in the spider's web so we can't move. We've got people worrying now about, is me wheelie bin out on the wrong day? Is it a few inches too near the curb? And you know something, and this is important. These people are taking the piss, and I'll tell you why. They are throwing this crap at us, and if they don't meet significant resistance, they go, okay, we'll throw even more crap. I'll get into this in the last section, but we need to draw a bloody line.